Hello and welcome to Midlife Curiouses Vietnam edition. This summer, over a span of 15 days, I explored the beautiful country of Vietnam. We started our journey in Ho Chi Minh in the south and traveled north to Sapa. On the way, we visited Da Nang, Hoi An, Halong Bay, Hanoi, and Ninh Binh. These vlogs are like a daily video diary to show you how I planned my trip, and I hope they can help you plan yours. So let's get started right away. As I said, the first city we visited in Vietnam was Ho Chi Minh, which is in the south and more precisely in southeast Vietnam. Ho Chi Minh City is also referred to by its former name Saigon. It was the capital of French Indochina, then capital of South Vietnam, and was renamed Ho Chi Minh City in honor of the revolutionary leader Ho Chi Minh after the fall of Saigon to North Vietnam in 1975, marking the end of the Vietnam War. This cosmopolitan metropolis is the most densely populated city and the financial hub of Vietnam. Its landscape is as diverse as it is beautiful, with colonial architecture as well as dazzling modern new buildings like the landmark 81. But first things first. We travelled to Vietnam by Vietnam Airlines. Our flight was delayed by 5 hours, so we were given meal vouchers at the airport. Then we realized that accumulated points on our debit cards gave us lounge access. The lounge was quite crowded, but we got some food and beverages and a place to wait. Then we finally boarded. The airlines did serve meals again, but we were too sleepy and tired, so chose to call it a night. When the flight landed at Son Nhat International Airport in the morning, we made our way to immigration. Keep your boarding pass handy, the immigration officer will ask for it. The wait was about 30 minutes. They asked for boarding passes, passports, visas, and duration of stay, and not much else. We bought our SIM cards at this Mobifone kiosk, which is on the right, just before the exit. We chose the Viettel SIMs 290,000 VND, and we got 45 GB of data over 30 days, 1.5 a day, free calls to Viettel, and 50 minutes of local calls free. We were to be picked up by a driver and a guide. Our Vietnamese guide delighted us by speaking Hindi, which he had picked up from Indian clients and friends. I in turn surprised him with the few Vietnamese phrases I had learnt.
Ho Chi Minh.
Xin chào.
Xin chào.
हम अच्छे हैं. Chúng tôi là bộ đội cần gia đình.
Gia đình.
Gia đình.
Nói được tiếng Việt.
Little tiếng Việt.
Little tiếng Việt. How come?
I study.
Oh, you study Vietnamese.
Yes, little.
The driver then got the van around. It was a very spacious and comfortable vehicle. We got on and then drove on to our hotel. I booked a hotel in District 1 of Ho Chi Minh City as it is very close to, almost walking distance away from most of the tourist attractions and also markets like Ben Thanh and Saigon Square. The room was spacious and comfortable. In addition to the basic toiletries, a lot of extras were also provided. Tea, coffee and a bottle of water per person per day were complimentary, as was the ruby beer. We were told sternly when we checked in that the wine and teddy bear were not complimentary. We had paid for early check-in and included breakfast as our flight was to land very early. But as it was delayed, we were given packed breakfast trays which included croissants, bread, butter, cheese, jam, an egg, a banana and a bottle of orange juice. Our guide, Mr. Jun, gave us an hour to freshen up, and then we got back in our van and drove to the War Remnants Museum. This museum is famous for its powerful and thought-provoking exhibits that depict the harsh realities of the Vietnam War. There is a map at the entrance. Mr. Jun said that he would wait in the waiting area while we looked at the exhibits, as him talking to us could disturb other people. However, there were guides with other people and no one complained. So if you have a guide, take him or her with you, as this museum is a lot to take in and having a local person showing you around is helpful. If you don't have a guide, you can rent audio guides just inside the entrance. Here there is also a vending machine if you're thirsty and 2 souvenir shops. The Vietnam War was a conflict between North Vietnam and South Vietnam. The North was supported by the Soviet Union, China, and other communist states, and the South was supported by the United States and its anti-communist allies. While many displays are from a Vietnamese perspective, many also come from US sources. The exhibits give visitors an insight into not only a defining chapter in Vietnam's history, but also a deeper appreciation of modern day Vietnam. You will need a minimum of a couple of hours here. This is a photo of a medic who was severely injured and had his head heavily bandaged. Though barely able to see out of one eye, he continued to do his duty and help as many wounded as he could before he succumbed to a bullet. These figurines of children playing are like a ray of hope amid the starkness of the exhibits. You can find some information leaflets here. Also displayed are several weapons used in the war. Here is a display of battle gear and more weapons. Many war crimes took place during the Vietnam War, including massacres of civilians, bombings of civilian targets, terrorism, torture, and murder of prisoners of war. Additional common crimes included theft, arson, and the destruction of property not warranted by military necessity. This depicts the My Lai massacre, a mass killing of as many as 500 unarmed villagers by US soldiers in the hamlet of My Lai on March 16, 1968 during the Vietnam War. In this war, nearly all United States Allied forces were armed with American weapons. Agent Orange was a powerful herbicide used by US military forces during the Vietnam War. The main purpose of herbicidal warfare is to disrupt agricultural food production and to destroy plants which provide cover or concealment to the enemy. Its purpose was to eliminate forest cover and crops for North Vietnamese and Viet Cong troops. Agent Orange, which contained the deadly chemical dioxin, was the most commonly used herbicide. It was later proven to cause serious health issues, including cancer, birth defects, rashes, and severe psychological and neurological problems among Vietnamese people as well as among returning US servicemen and their families. The ground floor of the museum showcases posters and photos showing international support for the anti Vietnam War movement. Here is a poster of protests in Calcutta, now Kolkata, in India during the Vietnam War. The souvenir shops were a little expensive, but they did have some exclusive souvenirs I didn't see anywhere else, so they're worth looking around. It was pouring outside by the time we were done, though it had been hot and sunny when we arrived. Mr. Jun suggested it was no point going ahead with our city tour, so we decided to go to the Ben Thanh Market, which was just a few minutes away, and look around till the rain subsided. Ben Thanh Market is located in the center of Ho Chi Minh City in District 1. It is one of the earliest surviving structures and an important symbol of the city. It is a famous, bustling marketplace frequented by tourists and locals alike for clothing, accessories, souvenirs, snacks, dry fruits, local street food, and fresh produce. It is most famous, however, for selling first copies, which is a euphemism for imitations, of big, expensive brands of everything from clothes and shoes to handbags and watches. What I was looking for was something uniquely Vietnamese which I couldn't get back home in India. I came to this store which had very pretty accessories, but nothing that was very Vietnam. So I told her that I would look around and come back. She said, "Come back, I make less for you." But I smiled and repeated that I would come back. Right next to that store was one that had an amazing collection of souvenirs, so we stopped to buy a few as gifts. Now a word to the wise. I had done some research on all the places we were to visit, including Thanh Market. All prices here are significantly marked up, especially if you obviously look like tourists, which I'm sure we did. So whatever price they quote, you say no, too much. They understand that, by the way, and then you counter with half that amount. Then a calculator will be whipped out on which a price will be typed. That is supposed to be the absolute final one, but of course it isn't. You can counter as much as you like, either verbally or on the calculator. The final price will be somewhere between half and the price first quoted. If you still find it expensive, you can walk on saying, "I come back." If they really want to make a sale, they will call you back. If they don't, you can see if you get a better deal at another shop. I have seen YouTube videos where people said that shopkeepers harangued them to buy things and got aggressive if they didn't buy anything, but nothing like that happened with us. A few shopkeepers called out to us as we passed, but didn't bother us if we smiled and walked on. So after a lot of clacking of calculator keys and a lot of whining and complaining on both sides, me saying no, too much, and he saying no, too little, we finalized our purchases and made our payments. Then just as I was leaving, I saw a beautiful shot glass with a Vietnamese lady with the conical hat painted on it. Very, very Vietnamese. I bought it to keep the Haenyo shot glass I had bought in Jeju company. That was one of my favorite purchases in South Korea, incidentally. He securely wrapped it up in newspaper for me, and it safely made the trip back home. It can get a little stifling in here, as though individual shops have fans, there is no central AC. These bags were very pretty, but too bulky to take back. So we continued to walk on. Finally, I came to a shop where I thought I had found what I was looking for. This lady had a beautiful collection of embroidered t-shirts with Vietnamese ladies, again with the conical hats embroidered on them. They were so pretty and so Vietnam. Out comes the calculator. And this is me going through again, no, too much. Then she's telling me, "See, this is embroidered. I can give you this one cheap. This one has the thing stamped on it." I was like, no. I want the embroidered one at that price. And she says, "Come on, too less." Then I say, "Okay, I'll buy more than one." And then, we are like checking out the colors, and she says, "I can give you many more colors and many more sizes." Then she called me inside her shop and made me sit on a little stool in the corner while she went looking for the sizes and colors. I think this was to announce to the rest of the shopkeepers that I was her customer until she came back. So I sat and waited while she got the rest of the merchandise. The shopkeeper was very sweet, and I left her shop happy. By the time we came out, the rain had stopped, but Mr. Jun and the driver had left for the day, so we booked a grab cab to go for lunch. Grab cabs are very convenient as they are quick and quite affordable. Hawkers will continuously approach you, just smile and walk on, then they leave you alone.